This isn't a dystopia warning, but it is a video that might need a content warning, because I'm going to tell you what it's like to be a woman online with a large political platform, and there will be no pictures to the side, no, because if I showed you the threats that I received, I would get probably banned due to the words that they contain, even if referencing something that happened to me. I've been making political content online for the last 3 years. I started during lockdown, taking the mickey out of Tory MPs, predominantly on TikTok, where I've now got 250,000 followers. After that, a friend of mine posted one of my videos on Twitter, and now I've got about 220,000 followers on there too. My platforms grew extremely quickly in a way that I never expected them to. I grew up as someone without much agency or much of a voice, and I wasn't listened to. I came from nothing in terms of finances, you know, even lower than working class, you know. We struggled. So what I talk about really matters to me, and I'm going to use the platforms that I have now in order to take a stand against what's happening to me and to tell you what it's like and what I've had to go through over the last 3 years just for making piss-taking videos about the government. Because there are certain types of men online that don't like women having a voice, and before you go to the defaults that I often get, which is, oh, you must be doing something right, this type of man doesn't need an excuse to abuse a woman. The other one is, oh, why don't you just block them? Doesn't matter, they'll set up another 3 or 4 accounts within seconds to continue the harassment. Now you're going to have to do a little bit of imagining, I think, in order to get an understanding of what it's like. Now what I'm about to tell you are all things that have happened to me, but I want you to imagine what it feels like to have this happen to you. Firstly, imagine the worst crime that you could ever imagine being done to a woman. You know the one. Now imagine that in gang form, being threatened at you, and then them telling you that when they're done with you, they're going to chop you up into little pieces so your family will never find you. Imagine them photoshopping your face onto porn. Imagine being sexually harassed and degraded all day, every day. Imagine your physical appearance being picked apart in every way that it is possible to be picked apart. Imagine that impossible beauty standard, you know. Look thin, but not too thin, you know. Have perfect hair, but, you know, don't try too hard. Oh God, you're looking a bit old, aren't you? But if you get Botox, you're fake. Oh, you're working out, are you? Oh, you must fancy yourself. Oh, you're not bothering. Oh God, you're a slob, aren't you? No wonder no one wants you. Yeah, that. Imagine your little nephew's being threatened. Imagine being too afraid to go out for a drink with your mates. Imagine them even tracking you down on dating apps to abuse you. Imagine being too afraid to use the apps in case one of the people that threatens you, matches with you, goes out with you and kills you. Imagine being simultaneously too afraid to leave your house but too afraid to stay in it because they're threatening to dox your address. Imagine your bank account, your emails, your PayPal all being hacked, to the point where 2-factor notifications are going off constantly on all of them. I lost access to my bank account, my online banking, just before Christmas because of so many hacking attempts. Imagine every bit of content that you make online and everything that you care about, that you talk about, being reduced to you just making content so divorced dads will want to fuck you and might chuck you £3 in your tip pot. Like you are a political stripper. There are infinitely easier ways to make money than enduring all of this shit. Trust me, if I was doing it for the money, I'd have stopped long ago. I'm not living it up in the Alps like Michelle Mone, in case you hadn't noticed. Just because I make videos online about politics in which I take the piss out of the government, it doesn't mean that everybody has the right to my personal information. It doesn't mean that people have the right to degrade me every day or threaten me or make me feel afraid to go about my daily life. I am constantly looking over my shoulder in case one of the threats happens, and I am currently being stalked and forced to live my life in fear as a consequence. Imagine the people that are supposed to be on your side of the political spectrum either joining in or instigating this. Imagine friends that you've known for over 15, 20 years joining forces with the trolls that create fake profiles and impersonate you to smear you, and are so dedicated that you can't leave the platform because they'll assume your identity. Imagine friends that you've known for that long doing that. At times the smears have been so severe that I've felt suicidal, yeah. But if I mention that, I'm inventing a sob story. That's right, you guessed it. So men will throw money at me. I'm definitely not doing it because I've lost friends that way and that I try to mention so people feel better and feel like they can speak out about it. No, it's literally just so that someone might give me £3. Yeah. I talk about my upbringing not to elicit sympathy, but because I know what it's like, and that's why I have persevered despite all of this. Because, you know, I actually believe in what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'm not just a collection of body parts there for the gratification or for men to mock. I actually have thoughts, feelings, passions, opinions, and I have a right to say them without facing that. But I do face it every day. I have to see every comment before I block it. I have to screenshot it in case one of them goes through with it. And then they say, oh, just go to the police. The police, who fail to log the crimes, victim blame me. If the worst was to happen, they say, oh, you know, we should just learn lessons. Can't even trust the police not to pose with my dead body, you know, and then put it in a WhatsApp group to mock me. Then there's no NHS services for what I have to deal with, which is complex PTSD, of course not. Something that makes all of what I've talked about a million times harder to deal with, by the way, which I'm reduced to, you know, just a hysterical woman, because medical misogyny is a thing, yeah. People come to your defence that follow you, they're just people that want to shag you, obviously, aren't they? I'm told that I bring it all on myself because I come for Conservative MPs, the most privileged people in this country. But yeah, I'm sure the working class woman with barely a pot to piss in is the problem, isn't she? My nan taught me all about social justice, animal rights, women's rights, how important it is to vote because women died for my right to vote. She was one of the strongest women that I've ever known, and despite what was thrown at her, she did not give up. She raised a granddaughter that will do the same. Whenever I was feeling low, she would say to me, you can do it. I am continuing to do what I do out of pure rage, spite and determination at this point. And doing this has taken far more from me than I've ever gained from it. Although I'm grateful for everything that I have gained, I've told you just a snippet of how bad it is. I have genuinely feared for my life. And when you look at the stats and you look at what happens to women, just trying to walk home, you can understand why. It's on men to deal with other men because they're not going to listen to women. They have no respect for us. They don't listen to our experiences. They don't believe our experiences. So if you're a man that's disgusted by this, deal with the men around you. Shame them. Because it's unbelievable to me that women have to still live like this in 2024. As far as I'm concerned, we've got a job to do and I'm going to see it through. Regardless, in spite of what I have to put up with. Because I'm not going to be silenced by weak, talentless, pathetic men. As for the people that are targeting me, I'm going to throw the book at them. I do have my platforms and I'm going to use them to do my bit to help get rid of the most corrupt government that Britain has ever known. But I thought you might like to have a peek behind the curtain at what women have to face for taking a stand and voicing their opinion.